So my first year at BYU, I wanted to get every good kid in the state of Utah. All of the visits that I had done prior to going to Sara's house were pretty similar. The houses looked the same, the family life looked the same. And I think that's why Sara's visit struck out to me as so different. It was like, wow, this man is raising this high school daughter. When I got up after a couple hours and walked to the door, I reached for the doorknob and he kind of grabbed my hand, my wrist, and said, "I've done the best I can with her. Please help her."
My mom struggled with a lot of pain in her life that she never dealt with, she never confronted.
It almost kind of seemed like Monticello, it was a small town, so everyone knew everyone's business, right? So once we kind of got out of Monticello and got into Idaho and nobody really knew the family, nobody really knew us, I would say that like my mom kind of got a little bit of sense of freedom in a way. Like I think that's when her struggles showed a little bit more. They weren't so in her anymore.
And then my oldest sister actually had a stillborn. And I think that loss really started triggering things within her as well.
Say if the kids had a surgery or something, then she was always in charge of the pain pills or anything like that. And I would notice that they're going down a bit, you know what I mean? And so she was doing a little bit of that, and then, of course, a little bit of alcohol. And
my mom's struggling with this. My dad was so consumed with trying to help her get out of this, but she kind of had to figure that out on her own, but didn't know how to. And so it affected them in a way of just kind of ending up consuming the two of them in their own little world, trying to figure their own stuff out. And reasonably so. I think my dad loved my mom so much that he was just trying to do everything he could, but it also ended up turning very unhealthy.
My sister Sadie and I went through the thick of it together. We saw my mom arrested on the curb. We saw a lot of things that I would not wish on my worst enemy.
I saw that Sara was strong, but I also saw that the life we were handed was heavy for her.
I don't want people to think that my mom was this horrid person, because she had amazing qualities. She was an amazing mom. She was an amazing mom that got consumed by pain, and she suffered.
That day,
I wanted to go to a friend's house, called her to ask for permission, and
I remember my mom kind of like snipping at her and saying things.
Basically said, do whatever you want, no one listens to me anyway.
I was like, well, maybe we'll go home and see what we can do. And I remember driving home, and when we made it home, I walked into the door.
My mom's music was blaring in the room.
There had been times where my mom had locked herself in her room, and honestly, there had been times where I shimmied my way in somehow to make sure she was okay. But that time felt different.
Knowing what I know now, the spirit told us to get out of there.
Walk away from the door, Sadie. Like, don't go in there.
Sadie and I left, and still to this day, I don't know if she was alive when we were there. I have no idea.
she actually had called me and insinuated some things that was going on. So I'll clean up my tools and I'm headed home. I could hear music playing, but I couldn't get in the bedroom. Finally figured out how to get in, and then that's when I found her. So ended up calling 911. You know, they came over and took over from that point. And
when we turned the corner into our cul-de-sac of where our house was, there were ambulances, fire trucks, policemen lining the street. And the fear I saw in my sister's eyes.
Because, like, I had heard my mom threaten suicide in the past, I immediately thought, like, my mom did it. Like, is this the final straw, you know? Is my mom still with us or not? And I think the minute I pulled up and saw that, that's probably exactly what my face said, was like, Mom's gone.
I've never fell to my knees and cried like that in my entire life. Having to learn that she chose to leave this world was the deepest pain. It felt like she was choosing to leave me. I was flooded with so many different emotions I didn't know how to handle. I remember thinking, I just need to go run. Let this go, run, as fast as I can for as long as I can. Not run away from the situation, but like run to figure out what was going on. I started realizing that running was gonna be my rock. It was gonna be the thing that was always consistent in my life. So I started pushing myself. I started realizing that, man, I'm getting good at this. I like it. It keeps me busy. It makes me happy. Towards my senior year, I started pushing myself harder and realizing that college was an opportunity for me. No one in my family has gone to college, so it never struck me that I would go.
It makes me emotional to think about how Coach Taylor and the team, supported the one person that I love the most. They would run together and support each other in a lot of different ways. And in some ways, that was just remembering her mom. That could be a ribbon, right? That could be a prayer before a race.
We accepted Sara, and the team accepted Sara for who she was and where she was at in her journey. We all saw the potential in who she could become and what she could do with the gift she was given, but never undermining her process and understanding she had a lot of hard days. But there were things that they would do behind the scenes to show a sense of support.
My junior year in college at Nationals was the best race of my entire life.
The top 40 receive All-American honors, and there's 250 athletes that line up on that national championship day.
Sara's goal is to be an All-American, right? And that's what she was working towards. In order for them to achieve this goal, to be national champions as a team, and for Sara to be a All-American as an individual, they're gonna have to go to the well. They're gonna have to leave it all out there on the course.
I love the expectation that she placed on herself, and I love that she wanted to be so accountable to that goal that she had to look me in the eyes and say it out loud. I'm going to be an All-American. That is the reason why she could race with the amount of grit that she races with, is because she has had to be tough, sometimes by choice and sometimes by default.
I just remember that was the first race that I felt my mom running with, or like carrying me. Like I felt my mom during that day, during the race.
And she passed out over the finish line. So she left it all out on the course, and it just made me so happy to be there as she lived that dream. And then, of course, winning the Nationals, that was a bonus.
It was amazing walking up to my dad and like looking at my dad in the eyes and like, Dad, I did it. And we were both crying because he supported me from when I was a kid all the way through my running career, and he was so proud of me and I was so proud of myself, and it was an amazing day.
I'll never understand why people love to run, but I'm so glad that Sara found it. Running is what made Sara who she is, and I don't know who she would be without it. It's made her such a stronger person, but now that she's done with her BYU career, it's strengthened her in a lot of ways.
I mean, you take the national championship, and that's going to be a little tiny piece over here now. And I mean, she'll always have that memory, and it's always going to be fantastic. But now it's going to be bigger. The kids are going to be, that's going to be her world.
Becoming a mom makes me wonder what it was like for you. All the memories I am making are so exciting and new. I wonder if you experienced that too. I can't call to see what your pregnancies were like. I can only wonder if ours are alike. I'll treasure his wiggles in my tummy and think of how you are holding him above me.
Baby time!
He knows my heartbeat as I knew yours. So hold him tight while you can, because in heaven he is yours. If your heartbeat is what connects us, then hold him to yours so you can continue to direct us. Our worlds are so far apart, and he makes the distance seem shorter. I just wish I could see you become his supporter. When he comes into this world, please give him a kiss goodbye, and be sure to sing him one last lullaby. I know you will miss him as he will miss you, so as his angel, guide him like grandmas do.
Through everything that I've been through in my life, I have gained an understanding of who I am and who I can become, and it has opened my eyes to all the opportunities that are ahead of me. The process of healing is different for everyone, and we just have to trust in ourselves. We're stronger than we think. We can draw from inspiration that we didn't even know we had. And I just want to say to those people who have lost either a parent to suicide or a sibling or anything, that you're not alone. There's no words that I can say that will bring you comfort except for you're not alone. And you can do this. You can become who you want to become. I'm living proof of that. And I'm so grateful that I was able to find joy.